Dakota Johnson portrays the late Nicole Teague in Our Friend. I'm Riley Chow of GoldDerby. The movie opens with a scene between you and the character Matt, but you're off screen. So, did you know that the movie would open that way and be shot that way? And I'm wondering how you set the stage acting wise with that knowledge.
Um, I did. I think I did know it was written in the script that we wouldn't see Nicole right off the bat, and that felt really strong to me. Um, there was something about having this like the feeling of her there without actually seeing her, because that's sort of what the movie ends with as well. Um, and it just seemed really beautiful to me. But I think in that moment, it just felt so much about Casey's work and his character that it was so beautiful to watch him and be there with him. It just felt quite raw and natural.
Yeah, the finished film takes this kind of vignette style. Not that filming is normally chronological anyway, but I'm wondering how that narrative style impacted how you shaped your performance.
It was tough because we flipped around from years all the time, and there would be some days when we'd be in three different eras, and so I sort of made a timeline and would mark them by what wig I was wearing and what color my nail polish was, um, which just helped me to be like, oh, okay, Nicole is at this stage of cancer and this stage of marriage, and where this age of being a mom, and this is how old her, that helped me in that way. Otherwise, I would have been lost. We were all a little lost sometimes, but we made it through.
So you read the script first, then you read the Esquire article from which it's adapted. How did that change your perspective on the story?
um, well, there's something really sort of brave about the Esquire article, and then the script has the little sweet moments that I think were maybe not as amplified in the article. It felt a little bit like the article is so real, it's so intense and dark sometimes, and I think it really just informed the script. Like that the article is the guts of the movie, but that doesn't always mean that you have to see all of that.
Yeah, can you talk more about that? Because I feel like I did read about a lot of guts in the article and a lot more of that grotesque side, but then the film kind of goes back further to talk about more, how their relationship came to start in the first place.
Yeah, I think it became really important to, I mean, it's a real question for Gabriella, but I think it became important that the 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 gruesome side of life is there always, but that is not the thing that drives you forward or helps you move through. It's love and compassion, and it helps you to look at the gruesome things and acknowledge that they're there and deal with them, and then also see the beauty and the laughter and the levity. And I think it's hard because that's really Gabriella and Brad Inglesby developed it, the script, and I think it was really important to her to find the horrible, like, treacherous parts of this journey, but also the beautiful, sweet ones, because that's the balance of living.
Yeah, your director, she's known for directing Blackfish. This is her second fiction film. What distinguishes her as a director?
I think her background in documentary filmmaking is makes her like have this ability to capture moments that are so real and little and so human, and she is always observing, and she really sees people. And you know, when the little girls were on set, she would roll camera when they were playing with each other, and it's, you know, she really captures the humanity of people in a way that's non-invasive, and it's not forced, and it's not um, manufactured.
So after a decade on screen, what was new for you with this role?
A decade? Have I been on screen for a decade?
I think so. The Social Network was in 2010, so
Oh, wow. I guess so. Yeah. Well, actually, I made a movie when I was 9, so, but that doesn't really count, I guess. Um, what was different? I guess moving into a stage of my life where I can play a mother and play with themes of life that are not really available to, or haven't been available to me yet. I think um, it's just interesting to explore different parts of being a woman and relationships that you can have as you grow through life. But it's I felt really lucky to work with everybody in this movie, like Jason and Casey and Gabriella and the girls there. Oh, and Cherry Jones is just really great. So I just think the more I work, the more I get to work with amazing people.
so you shot this 2 years ago. It premiered a year and a half at Toronto. Finally, we're able to see it in the public. I wonder about this side of being an actor, where I feel like you are an actor to act, but you kind of spend years answering the same questions about these movies that you make. So, do you find that frustrating, or is that kind of a welcome side to your job?
I don't know how I feel about it. It's so weird to, you're right. I do get asked the same questions. It's nice that people want to know about how it was to make a movie, or, you know, ask questions. It's lovely, but also it's so interesting to talk about your work, um, because it's it, it's so hard for me to be objective, and it's so hard for me to even watch the movies that I'm in. Um, and because so much time passes from when you make the film and it comes out, I'm like a completely different person, and I have an entirely different life. And I feel like I've lived thousands of lifetimes in my life. So it all just feels like a retrospective, and I'm sure that I felt completely differently making the movie than I do when I actually start to talk about it. You kind of process things and then look back on it in a more maybe objective in a good way, having space from it. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Yeah, just want to hear the musings. You've said that the most challenging scene in this film for you to actually shoot was, or were the singing scenes. So I want to phrase it a bit
No.
differently. What scene do you think you would want to put on your hypothetical demo reel from this movie?
Ah, nice. Yeah, weirdly, I don't know why I talk about how hard the singing scenes were for me, because it's like not important. Um, but they weren't even, it was just a little bit scary because it was something that I hadn't done before. I think there were so many scenes uh, that you're kind of towing the line, or Nicole was towing the line between um, really deeply heartbroken about her life being lost, and also being wanting to engage in it so much. So there's this like the scene where she's talking about her writing letters to the girls, and all of the things that she wants to do before she dies. You know, I was like, that would be an exciting thing if I had thought about it and been there. That would be like, all right, this is the decision that I've made. But also the idea of not like seeing my children grow up is like would make me bent with grief. So also the scene where she's talking about how people don't look at her the same anymore and she's lost her beauty. I think for a woman who loved to perform and loved to be up in front of people and really like uh, present herself, to have that be something that is on her mind was like extraordinarily heartbreaking to me, um, and difficult, because how do you feel the feeling of being so, of like having your beauty or your sparkle or your something that you loved about yourself taken from you, and be able to articulate it and also just be okay with that happening is like uh, I could only obviously imagine that being a really complicated series of emotions to go through. So those two scenes, I think it's always like, this and also this, which are the scenes that I mostly love in movies.
So last year you had The High Note come out. Now Our Friend is out. I believe the last film you shot was called The Last Daughter, and you just started shooting a movie that's kind of called Am I Okay? Tentatively. So this is not really much of a question, but I more just want to draw attention to, these four films that you made kind of in a row, all have female directors, which I feel like is a record in Hollywood. Uh, so I'm wondering, is this kind of more of a conscious or unconscious choice, or
That
do you have any
is
response to
so
that?
interesting. Um, yeah. Also, the next movie I'm making is a female director, which is so, and the one after that, that'll be six in a row. Um,
I think I've heard of two before, maybe. Yeah.
two in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's very cool. It's not really something that I've totally done on purpose, but in the moment when choosing jobs and I guess also hiring directors, because some of the things I'm acting in and producing, um, I don't know. That's a really good observation. I don't know what to say about it other than why not?
And why set up a production company, and how did that come about?
I just really love making movies, and I've found that there have been a lot of times when I have read something amazing, um, a script or a book or an article, and it just falls into the depths of the earth and never gets made. And so I really wanted to make these things that I love, and I wanted to make them with people that are up and coming writers and directors, paired with really established writers and directors. I really love creating a sort of safe space, like a hub for creativity. And so my producing partner and I, her name's Ro Donnelly. She's a brilliant producer. We just like to support people and support writers and filmmakers, and so we've been developing a bunch of projects, and I've sort of found that like sometimes in this industry you're up against people who run shows or studios or sets in a really antiquated way, and their mindset about working environments or any kind of inequality or disparity, it just doesn't work for me. And I'm like, I want to work with great people. I want to make great things, and I want to have a really good time, and I want everyone to be on the same team. And that's not always the case on movie sets. I think that maybe things are moving in a different direction, but to have the opportunity to have a production company where I can really like make a whole world, and make content that maybe wouldn't be made in bigger studios or large streaming platforms where things get lost, is just so much fun.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's great. Dakota, thanks very much for taking the time to chat. And yeah, thanks for these insights. And we look forward to seeing all these movies.
Thank you so much. Likewise.